as I was going around participating in the discussion and everything, I kept hearing people saying things like, why is this happening, or how is this possible? We're not advocating for them, or people are saying they're rejecting us, we're talking about them, we're trying to help these people, they're educated, why can they get a visa, or why can they become citizens? And people kept being turned away. And a lot of people believe that it's easy to become a citizen, which is, right now, is one of the hardest things, unless, like Sister said, that you were here in the U.S. before 2011, or you are, thank you, or your parent is a U.S. citizen. Let me tell a little bit about my story. My parents came to the U.S. when I was 5 years old. I didn't see my parents for over 4 years. I lived with my grandmother and my uncle and my aunts in Ecuador, and my sister. And then 4 years later, they came back, and they decided to move here to the U.S. We overstay our visas, so I'm undocumented, and I'm not ashamed of saying it. But there's a lot of things that have happened since I've been here. When my first year when I came here, my mother went to enroll us in school, and when we went to the district, they said we couldn't attend any public school in the district because of our status. So since then, we had to find different ways. So we kind of had to go around find legal ways to enter school, and since we couldn't go to any public schools in this one district, we had to go to Catholic school. But I remember very clearly that day when we went to the district office to sign up, and my mom just left. She's like, let's go, we gotta go. And I just remember like, Mom, like, when do we start school? Like, when's that happen? Am I gonna go to the same school that my cousin goes to? And she looked at me and she was like, no, they don't want you here. And I just remember, like, I felt really ashamed for a second, because I was like, why do they want me here? You know, I just want to go to school. I want to learn English. I want to have friends. So I just remember walking out of that office and like feeling very ashamed of myself. And my mother, she was very upset, and she didn't know how to talk to us. She didn't know how to express herself, and just how to even have that conversation. So we ended up going to Catholic school, and then when I got to 8th grade, we started talking about high schools, and a lot of my friends who were in Catholic schools went to Catholic high schools. And I was thinking, since that was the only way I could go to middle school, then I'm pretty sure that's going to be the only way that I can attend any high school here. And we were also very scared of trying another public district to go into high school, because of our experience. Because when my mother went to bring in our paperwork, the lady looked at my passport, and she looked that I was here on a visitor's visa. So she pretty much told my mother that she was going to keep all her paperwork, and if my mom did anything about it, then she was going to give it to someone who will know what to do with us, pretty much.
Also because you didn't have a social security number.
So, I mean, what she did was illegal, but we didn't know, and we were also scared. So we just, we found ways how to get around that and just continue our education, because that's what we were here for. And then I went to high school, and I grew up like anybody else. Speaking English, I dressed like all my friends, I hang out with all these people, and I never felt different until I got to my junior and senior year of high school, when everybody started getting their driver's licenses, and I couldn't get one. Everybody started applying for jobs, and I couldn't apply for one. And I didn't know where to go. And then around junior, senior year, when we started talking about college, I remember my counselor called me down. She said, oh, Maria, are you thinking about college? Is this something that you want to do? And I just remember sitting there like, yeah, but, I didn't know how to tell her. And I didn't feel comfortable enough telling her my situation. because I was scared. I mean, I already had that happen before with school. Why would I even put my family in jeopardy again? So I just sat there and said, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about going to college. I don't know. Maybe it's not for me. And I remember going to all the visits that this different schools around me used to do at my high school, and just sitting there and being like, is anyone gonna raise a hand and say, hey, I'm undocumented, like, can I go to college? Yeah, so I remember staying behind, like being the last person, just talking to the person, and just learning more about the school. And I was always so close to saying it, but like I always back up from that, because I didn't want to go through the same situation again. And I remember printing out applications from all these schools, and I remember started filling them out, and then seeing the social security number right on top of the application. And I just got so upset, I just threw all of them out. And I printed like, I must have printed like 20. Because I was looking at so many schools trying to see where I could get in, like all my friends. But everything just went in the trash. So one of the sisters that we knew, who was pretty much like my guardian angel, was the reason why I was able to go to Newman. She brought me in, and we talked to advisors at Newman. We talked to people there, and I loved it because they said, we don't care that you're undocumented. We care that you want to go to school, and we see how hard you try, and your status means nothing. If you want to go to school, you can go to school here, and we'll help you. And they did. And I became very involved. I wanted to give back to them in a way that I knew best, which was by doing service and by helping out. So I got very involved. And like you guys, I got involved with like mission ministry, and then I became also his ambassador, a presidential ambassador for Newman. My friends and I started a club because we just wanted to help others. And my biggest passion for me throughout high school since I was little was fashion. So I was always talking about like, I'm gonna go to fashion school, and I'm gonna do all this, I'm gonna have my own line. But you know, when I came across one of the applications for my dream school, I just threw it all away. But then I said, I couldn't go there, but I can make a difference. So my friends and I started a club at school called Passion for a Cause, and we raised money for different nonprofit organizations. And we put fashion shows, and we just fundraise just to help as many people as we can. So this year we're actually fundraising for a organization that I've been working with that provides mental health for undocumented immigrants in Kensington. And we have a youth mentorship program where we work with undocumented minors and unaccompanied minors also. And they're the most amazing people that you will ever meet. They have so much life in them. They have so much, like for them, there's a future. Even though they've been through so much, there's nothing that's going to stop them. And that's just kind of what keeps me going also. Knowing that my parents have made so many sacrifices just to get here, that we've been through so many things, is what gets me by. So I'm going to be graduating in 2 months. But for me, it doesn't stop there. You know, I want to go to grad school. I don't know where I'm going to go yet, but I want to go and I want to do something. Maybe I want to go social work to do social work, or I want to do something with policy making, because I want to be able to make a difference in the world, and I want to be able to show people who gave me a chance that I did it. Over the summer, President Obama signed an executive order for deferred action for childhood arrivals, and I was able to apply for that because I've been living here since I was 9 years old. And I've never committed any crime, and I've been through school, everything. I've been paying taxes, I've been doing everything I could. Never get in trouble for anything. So right now, I have a 2-year work permit, and 2 years that allows me to stay in the country with lawful status, which is, it's great. It's amazing. I can do pretty much what I couldn't do before. You know, I can apply to any job, and that's what I did. I applied to PIG, and I got my position there as coordinator for the Fair Action, which is perfect for me because, you know, I get to give and to set up sessions and clinics for those kids who are out there who don't have the necessary, who don't have all the money to apply for this because it's very expensive and who don't have the money to pay an attorney on their own. So it's something amazing. But that's only 2 years. And who knows if I'll be able to renew that in 2 years. Because we don't know.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, since President Obama is in there, of course, like, we'll be able to. But the whole thing when they were running, like, Romney said, like, if he was to become president, he was going to take the Fair Action away. And that was very scary for a lot of people who applied for the Fair Action, a lot of people who already had it. And for a lot of undocumented immigrants, there was fear that was being created. So now we're talking about that, and now we hear things in immigration, like CIR, and they're trying to come up with a fair immigration reform. But what's that mean? What does it imply? I will be able to, if there was a path to citizenship, it will be easier for me to become a citizen. But my parents, will be a lot different. I come from a mixed status family, which my youngest sister, who's 7 years old, is a U.S. citizen because she was born here. My sister and I were documented, we call ourselves, because we have the Fair Action. My mother, she came in through, like we did, and she overstayed her visa, but she could still become a citizen. My father did the same thing, but he left to renew his visa, and he wasn't able to. So, with desperation of being to see us, he came through the border. And when he did, he was apprehended. So he was booked at the border for coming through. So anyone who comes through the border is not able to get a path to citizenship. So pretty much my family could be broken up at any time. Even the smallest thing that we could do, we could be separated at any time. And that is the reality of immigration. It's a broken system. And like you saw all the cases, you heard the stories, and you went to advocate for these people, and you were rejected, even when you were trying so hard. And that's what I live with every single day. I've been doing advocacy for the DREAM Act since I was a sophomore. And I remember in 2011, watching TV and like counting the votes with my sister. And when it didn't pass, it was the saddest thing. And it wasn't just myself, but it was my sister, it was my cousins, and thousands of other undocumented kids who are living here, who were out there talking to people, who were doing legislative visits, who were doing everything to advocate for the DREAM Act. So, in the next week, I'm going to be going up to Harrisburg with a couple of other Dreamers because Senator Smoker is introducing the Pennsylvania DREAM Act. And I'm hoping that that will be my first time to ever, that I will be doing something where I come out as undocumented in front of a lot of people, unlike now. It will be in front of cameras, so I'm kind of scared. And that's something that my mother and my father are always scared of. But I feel like they have learned to live with my craziness. All of the things that I get myself into. But the reason why I do them is because if we don't do it, then who's going to do it? Like, we need to speak up for ourselves. When my mom was walking out of that office, I was mad because she didn't speak up for herself. But I knew why. Because she had fear. But I'm done with the fear. I'm not going to just let somebody say, you can't do this, when I can. And so many kids deserve the chance. And those are things that I think we should, a lot of myths that that we have to break, that people don't understand about immigration. There's so many things that people don't even know. And today you just learn about all these stories, you learn about my story. And if you, Brandon, like when you saw me in the hallway, you probably never thought of me like that.
I mean, I lived 2 doors down from you for a long point in my life, and I never knew any of this.
Right.
And I rode the bus with you every day, and your sister. So for me, it's huge. But thank you for your story.
Yeah, so you can't deny someone the right to education because of their color, because of what they believe in. You can't deny a right. You can't even see what does a status even look like. If you look around, look at everyone's faces. But you're still American. We're all Americans. I remember when I came to Cabrini a couple of years ago, I saw a mural outside with all the people. I don't know if it's still out there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it is? Okay. I just remember sitting there like looking at it because it was the first time I ever, I was here for my presentation and I did it on the immigration system and how the self-esteem of children changes when they arrive to the U.S. And I just remember looking at that and seeing all the people and just thinking, this is what America's about. We're all walking around, we're all different. There's not race that defines America because everyone is different, but everyone's the same at the same time. So that's my story. I've been living an undocumented life since I was 9 years old. I'm 21 right now. And there has been lots of ups and downs. There's many obstacles that I have to, overcome. Scholarships was never an option for me. I couldn't apply for any of those. So my parents have been helping me pay for my education and for my sister's education. They have been sending me to college all these years. And I'm very thankful for that. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to go there. And if it wasn't for Newman who helped me so much, I wouldn't be able to be there either. And I'll probably be working at the same pizza shop that I was working when I was 15 years old. So, yeah, that's my story. 7 o'clock in the morning and don't get home until like 8, 10 o'clock at night. They do, my mother cleans homes and my dad does painting. And pretty much they do 1, 2, 3 houses a day. And they come home and it's like the same thing over and over again. So my sister and I, we have become like the mom figure to my younger sister pretty much. But it's something that you live with because, otherwise how do you survive? If my dad doesn't go to work, then we're short of money for 1 week, or we can't pay school for the next month. And my dad got hurt at work like a couple of months ago, so he's been out of work. So right now it's like my mother and I.
So does he have insurance?
No unemployment.
No insurance?
No.
Okay. So no retirement?
No.
Right.
There's
When you
nothing.
decided to come out, what kind of conversation did you have with your mom and dad? When you decided to become public that you were undocumented?
Well, the first time I ever talked about this was at church, and that was at Newman. And I was kind of hectic about it because I knew people from my school might be there, so I kind of backed out a little bit, and then I found out that it was mostly sisters that would be there and community members. But I don't know, something just told me like it was time, and I just went there, I told my story, and it was my first time ever talking publicly about it. And I just remember like very, not upset, but it was I don't know, I felt upset, I guess, when I told a story, but then I saw how people reacted. And a lot of people came up to me and they said like they supported me and they were very grateful that I was able to talk to them about it. Because it's something that you keep with you all the time. So you're kind of living like a double life. You, at home, you're this person, but then when you're out with your friends, you kind of have to make sure that you watch out what you say around them. It was not hard.
Shelby, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question so
Have to get beyond being family, because let me
means that most people in most countries cannot go and say, gee, I want to move to the United States, can I get on a list? There is no list for you if you're not related to a citizen or a permanent residence. That's the change that needs to happen. And it would be easy enough for the United States to have more work visas, jobs that we don't have, that we can't fill here. You know, and maybe we wouldn't be outsourcing to India and Pakistan and, you know, all these places and hire people here.
Why is it easier for a
After you're a permanent resident for 5 years, and you know, or you come to me and I ask you questions, and I find out you have never been arrested, you speak English, you read and write 5th, 6th grade level, then I fill out the form for you, and you're on your way to getting a test. If you pass the test, you get sworn in.
and the test is like what's like the Constitution or American history?
American history, yeah. They want to vote. I mean, it doesn't happen. And they know it, but it was just a very political thing. Not against the immigrants, but a party line.
What are other countries' immigration laws like? Is like America?
Very different.
Different.
Every country has their own laws.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't know them. But I know a lot of people who migrate to Canada, because Canada, you can become a
Yeah.
resident in no time.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
So you would say America has the pretty, like the strictest?
yeah, one of the sisters, her sister and brother-in-law went to France because they speak English and Spanish. They wanted to go back to Mexico, but being trilingual.
Mhm.
And then they really liked it, and they filled out papers and they're staying. Very easy,
Yeah,
not here.
yeah.
I can just contribute a little to that. I have work permits from 10 different countries, and United States is one of them. For United States, I had to wait for about a year to get a work permit,
Okay.
and it was a U.S.-based organization that was applying for my work
Yes.
permit, so I was a priority visa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Despite that, I waited for a year, and then I had come around 9/11. So every year I needed to go back to my country,
And get it
renew
done.
the visa,
Oh,
and
wow.
come back. For the other
Quite an
9 countries,
expense.
It-
many a times you get into the
Yeah.
country, within 15 days you have the
Yeah,
work visa.
I know people who travel and they live in other countries and it
There's-
doesn't seem like a problem
There's
at
no
all.
advantage to us.
Yeah.
People don't, let me just say one human being and then because people cannot get a license, they're like the farm boy who can move, who can use the tractor forwards and backwards and thinks he knows how to use it. So people learn to drive from somebody else, and we have tons of accidents.
Mhm.
People hitting trees, people not knowing that you have to slow down on the curb, not knowing that there's a blind side, because you never went to a school. You know, I can't tell you how many accidents. You had a question.
Thinking about insurance, I remember writing to someone who was undocumented and didn't have car insurance. obviously.
Right,
Um,
that's
but how
another
does,
reason.
what groups get access to social services and benefits and, food assistance and?
Only
low-income health
citizens
insurance?
or residents who've been here more than 5 years.
So permanent residents don't get access to.
If you've been here 10 years, you need 40 quarters in the United States working to be able to get food stamps, et cetera, if you're a resident. In other words, if you come here and you're healthy, but something happens in the 12th year and you need food stamps, you can get them. Now, husband and wives are treated as one. So if she's worked 3 years and he's worked 7, that's 10 years they qualify. Okay? But the food stamps that I fill out every day is for the children. The Medicaid is for the children because they were born here. If they're children and they weren't born here, they still can't get it. Only residents and citizens can get that.
Yeah, I think you might have touched on this, but if someone is here and they don't have documents and they want to become documented, if they come out and they're like, I'm undocumented, do they get sent home or can they apply when they're here?
There's no way to apply unless you have a relative. Or you have a company sponsoring you, then you get an employment visa. There's no way
Or you get married
There's no way
to
to
a
apply
citizen.
as a permanent resident.
to apply for permanent residency.
Yeah, if you're here. So if you go back to your country of origin.
You still
apply-
can't.
still can't.
You don't have the resident or citizen relative. It's a family system. Now, if you have $2 million to open up a
Mhm.
business, you can get a permanent residency.
I was gonna ask too, so just say something happened, you had to go back to your country. Your little sister could she get you back in here since she could
No,
it?
she has to
21.
wait
Oh, she has to
21,
be
and she
21.
can only petition for my parents.
Wow.
And I forget how it goes, but it goes to your parents, and then they can petition, but I think they can petition for one child only that are under 21, right? If I'm not mistaken.
They can apply for their 15 children if they have
Right.
15.
But if you're married, then you can. So if I was,
Okay.
let's say I got married and my sister turned 21 and
Mhm.
she petitioned for my parents. And they petitioned for my older sister and myself. But
Mhm.
I was married already, I won't be able to. But my sister,
Just-
if she was still single, then she'll, but then she'll have to go through the whole process.
Yeah.
Once you're 21, you can petition your siblings and your parents, if your parents entered legally.
Mhm.
If they entered without inspection,
So for
you
me,
have to wait for a new immigration bill.
There's questions over here, too.
Yeah, you had your hand up for a while.
Well, I just want to ask another question to you, Maria. Since I grew up with you, I remember, I'm privileged, but but I vividly remember your sister being bullied on the bus. I don't know if you've ever experienced something like that. I don't think it was very much, but it was verbal harassment based on your accent, based on your ethnicity. I don't know if you could talk more about that based on the anti-immigrant rhetoric in the United States. It's so strong, and in Latin America, and all that. And I don't know if you have any insight, for us.
yeah, well, as you can tell, I have a very strong accent. Sometimes I call them accent days because I can't even understand what they're saying. That's a different story. No, but I had that, and my name is Maria Jose, and it's a very pretty name, and it's very common in Latin America. But when I came here, somebody asked for my name, I said it's Maria Jose, and they're like, that's a boy's name. Like Jose, you have a boy's name. So they started making fun of me. So that was the last time I ever told someone. And so from then on, I was just Maria, and I didn't even have a middle name. And I remember I was in high school, and one of my really good friends, she told my other best friend that my middle name, and I was so mad at her. I didn't talk to her for 2 weeks, because I was like, I already went through this when I came here, and it was so sad. And I'm gonna have to go through the same thing, and because people didn't understand. And that was one, and I still have it. I might say something, a certain word that sounds funny, and people repeat it. It's kind of like having a machine just repeating every single word you say. But kind of get used to it. I don't mind it anymore. But for me before, I used to be the type of girl that the first day of school, I would make friends with every single person that walked through the door. I was so outgoing. And then when I came here, just because of the language barrier and everything, I just became so close, and I just kind of kept everything to myself. And I was so shy. Even if I knew the answer to a question or anything, I always I was very quiet. So I guess I went through a whole phase when I was like that. And then until I got maybe to high school, my last few years, when I was more confident with myself, that I just kind of stopped caring. So I was like, okay, here I am, I'm back again. But until that happened, until I found myself, people were just mean, and people just say things, really hurtful stuff. And also, I heard people calling, when people say they were illegal, you're an illegal, that really hurts. So I try to educate people about using the word undocumented, because people use the word illegal with just to hurt people. You know, sometimes we use certain words just to hurt others, and that's one of the words that you just use with hate. And I had a test today, and my teacher had illegal immigrants, and I crossed it off, and I said,
I
so
spent my time doing that too.
yeah, so I was like crossing things out like that. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, people have this mindset about immigrants, and you know, like there's certain myths that people have about them. And if you're Latino, you're just Mexican. There's no
Yeah.
more.
Yep.
So, right, yeah, Mexican, Puerto Rican. And I remember like, oh, you're Mexican? Oh, I was like, no, I'm Ecuadorian. Oh, they're like, oh, I didn't know.
Where's
Things
that?
like that. I thought you were
Where's
Mexican.
that?
Yeah, yeah, things like that. I mean, they're just things that you learn to overcome.
We have time for like one more question, guys.
I just wanted to clarify with Sister, when you refer to permanent residence, isn't that the same, or is it the same as when people talk about getting a green card?
The green card.
That's common parlance, yeah, green card.
It used to be pink when they called it a green card. Now they've made it sort of greenish.